Now listen up, see? We're doing a toy review and we're OSD. Watch it, you'll enjoy it. It's good.
Bad boys, what you want, what you want, what you gonna do when Chevy John don't come for you? Tell me.
Well, as we all know, the 80s was a fantastic time for all sorts of ideas of toys making it out onto the market. Hasbro, as you know, was one of the biggest ones. They had Transformers, they had G.I. Joe. And what they did during the end of the 80s was try a couple of interesting things. One of the concepts they came up with was C.O.P.S, the Central Organization of Police Specialists. Now basically this was the idea taking the same formula as G.I. Joe and applying it to police, only in a future time. So their whole tagline was fighting crime in a future time.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
So of course if you have C.O.P.S, then the bad guys you're going to have are crooks. And that's what I brought along today, one of the best crooks from the C.O.P.S line. This is Buttons McBoom Boom.
Buttons McBoom Boom.
Buttons McBoom Boom.
What is the story behind Buttons McBoom Boom?
Well, as you can pretty clearly see from his look, he's a gangster.
Yeah, he's a very typical, sort of classic-looking gangster, but he's kind of wearing colour that isn't normally worn in the gangster realm.
I mean, come on, player, lose the paint, man. It's not gangster.
But yeah, I mean, he's very clearly a gangster. He's decked out in the same sort of style. It is supposed to be the future, so he's got some futuristic elements to him.
Yeah.
But looking at the figure, you know, he's very nicely sculpted, and his design is harkening back very much to that stereotypical 30s gangster style.
Yeah.
He's got the hat. He's got a nice suit with some big, broad shoulder
Yeah,
pads. So
yeah.
you can tell it was made in the 80s. And if you take a look, you can actually see a lot of design elements from the same era as G.I. Joe figures in there. This
Okay.
figure is basically built on that same construction, only on a larger scale.
Yeah.
With this guy, he's got the standard things which most Joes have in terms of a ball joint head.
Yep.
This guy's actually kind of cool because his hat comes off,
Oh.
so you do have the option of putting him hatless or not. The arms move at the shoulder.
Yeah.
You do have the elbow there.
Yep.
And you've also got a wrist articulation, which was something brand new on, certainly G.I. Joe figures didn't have those at that time.
Having the many points of articulation, do you think that was successful? Did they carry on from then on using more points of articulation, or did they kind of stall for a while and then only came about,
It
later
really
on?
stalled for a while. I mean, this was a very interesting experiment to doing something quite different.
Yeah.
Nowhere else really copied that same sort of level of articulation or scale for quite a number of years after it. So it really wasn't until the late 90s, early 21st century that this sort of scale came into vogue.
Wow.
So it really was quite ahead of the curve.
So I've noticed he comes with at least one accessory here that I can see.
does.
It looks like just a harmless guitar case.
Of course. What could possibly be dangerous about a guitar case being carried by a mobster?
I couldn't imagine.
Couldn't imagine at all. So we open it up and oh look, there's a machine gun inside.
You jerk.
So you can see here it's quite a good guitar case. It's a decent size. It can hold the gun quite easily. It does still open up, and there's even a little bit of molded detail on the inside.
Which is the shape of a gun.
Yeah.
Not a guitar.
So if you take it out, you can see it's quite a big. It's reminiscent of a Tommy gun.
Yeah.
It's a futuristic Tommy gun.
Yeah, cool.
And of course, you can hold it and fire it. Now, one of the interesting things about the C.O.P.S line was that, like a lot of toys, you had to have a gimmick. One of the gimmicks with the C.O.P.S line was that they had roll caps included in them.
Oh.
So the old paper caps, which you feed through there,
Yeah.
and you've got the little firing pin back here, you put it in and it would fire the cap. But there's still one more surprise. Now, if Buttons were to, say, lose his gun or run out of ammunition, he's now an easy prey for the cops. But if you open up this flap in his chest here, you can see he has a couple more guns hidden inside his chest, which you just fold out. And he
Okay.
can blast away again.
Why has he got guns in his chest?
Because he's Buttons McBoom Boom.
So there he is, Buttons McBoom Boom.
I think one of the real gems from the lost C.O.P.S toy line.
Absolutely.
Still fondly remembered by the few of us who do.
Do you guys like this toy or not like it? Let us know in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe to us. And Scott, we're out of here.
Absolutely.
See you next time.